Hello, trading has closed on the 2nd of July 2024. We always begin with our disclaimer, go over our calls, and then make our predictions. This is my trading plan for tomorrow, which is July 3rd, 2024. Any trade should be made at your own risk because I can be wrong. We have a number of new targets. Remember, MEJT system gives targets. You have to use other techniques to figure out what's an appropriate entry. We look for the pattern today with the early low, which is this. Tomorrow should have the early high. I said I didn't have a call specifically for today. I said it wouldn't surprise me if we closed with a little change, but I wasn't going to call it. That turned out to be fortuitous. And we said, regardless of what happened today, we were close to the area of a top. Well, we printed an old price target, 54.8839. Target printed some resistance at that price, but then we broke through. We have new targets from today's patterns, 54.88.97, 54.77.13, and ultimately, meaning no time limit, 54.65.47. This is just a reminder of what we said yesterday. During the day, we got an ultimate sell signal. While we did trade lower, it wasn't enough to satisfy the target. This drop was called false. We retraced. This rally was called false. We retraced, but it still rallied at a time when it's not going to be sustainable, giving us this target. This drop is called false or retraced, and this last rally is called false. And according to the rules, it should retrace. Now, of course, if we gap up, the time is off the table, but not the price. We have some conflicting signals here. We have a wall into the close. Often that's followed by gapping down. We also have the low bar in the first 5 minutes and the high bar in the last 5 minutes. And usually that leads to the rally continuing. So when the signals conflict, we use our standard mixed signals indicators. Well, we've already seen bar 13 of the demarked sequential sell signal. We had a number of cases where bar 13 of his combo sell could finish early. This one doesn't obey all the rules, but the last 3 bars don't have to. And this is a more convincing bar 13, not obeying all the rules, than any of the others. It's a logical place for the move to stop if this is going to work, and it doesn't always work. We're also right up against this channel we've shown for months. Again, it's a logical place for this rally to stop, if it's going to stop at all. We're going to use the mixed signals rules. Let's go over the indicators. Tomorrow's pattern has the early high regardless of where we open. Typically it's a bearish day with a final hour low, but that won't be in play tomorrow since we're closing early. It is bullish. The first 5 minutes had the low of day and last 5 minutes had the high, and usually, not always, that leads to higher prices printing the next day. But everything else is not bullish at all. We have lower MEJT targets. If we don't gap up smartly, the rules call for them to print. There's a wall into the close. Often we'll gap down when that happens. So we use these mixed signals rules. Commonest thing is a gap either direction and prompt move outside the day's range. Now this call might not work for a couple of reasons. If economic reports coming out tomorrow, I can't predict the response to those reports. It's a stub session tomorrow, closes 3 hours early. Anything I say might be delayed until Friday. Sometimes these stub sessions don't go anywhere. I don't have a system for predicting whether or not that'll happen either. We have a new sell signal. The Nasdaq-McClellan oscillators given a Bollinger Band reversal sell. It adds to the evidence we're near a temporary top. I think we'll go higher later. We have all we need for a sizable drop here if we start down. We haven't started down yet. But if we do start down, I think it could be a pretty sizable correction, which will eventually recover. Until we start down, there's always the chance I'm wrong, but there's a lot of evidence calling for a top in this area. Not necessarily tomorrow, but probably pretty soon. It's the pattern with the early high, and that's today's call.